Namaste and welcome to yet another episode of the Influence Academy with myself Anusha. The following conversation is with Mr. Aryan Shrestha, who is an event organizer, an IT personnel, a podcaster, and a budding entrepreneur. A quick mention to our sponsors, Extra Tech and Tribute Education and Migration. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Aryan Shrestha. So welcome to our show, Aryan. How are you?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Anusha, for having me here. I think, Everest TV is doing an amazing job bringing all the influential stories together. And it's easier to have a funny videos and meme pages, but having an influential show is difficult to continue also. And I think you guys are doing a very courageous work.
Thank you so much for this really good feedback. And we hope to continue this really further and, have our milestone of motivating people. That's our primary goal as is a community media.
Yeah, I think people don't look into motivational video when they are happy. They look only when they really need it. Yes, and we might not get a lot of views, we might not get a lot of shares, and it may not be like, funny and but it's a long journey, but I think you guys are doing really well until now.
Wow, really appreciate your words, Aryan. So let's start our conversation.
Sure.
You arrived here in 2013 to pursue your further education, and the decision to come here must have been adventurous. So what was the journey like from Nepal?
It was a difficult journey, but when I look back, I think it was the right journey to take for myself. Yes.
Did your expectation meet reality?
Yes, I think it's very, your expectations are different to what reality is here. So if anyone watching from Nepal trying to come here, you need to keep your expectations lower because the reality is completely different. But having said that, this is a land of opportunity. Australia has given personally myself a lot of opportunity to grow, and I'm very fortunate to take that decision, and it has been a very fruitful journey overall.
Moving on, people come here in Australia, like you said, with their hopes and dreams and desire, and they start their career doing any job they could find. Eventually, they want to find someone related to the study, related to the study. And being an IT student, you had a similar experience. You started as a bartender, and now you are a business project officer at Bayside Council. So what was that journey like?
Well, I started my first work in Three Wise Monkeys just at George Street as a barback. So they required an extra hand in one of the busy days. I think it was Anzac Day or something. And I knew a couple of managers there, and they got me a day role, I guess, just one day, just go there and help. And I worked really hard, and I think they liked my role work, and they continued to give me more shifts. I didn't get any job for 2 months, by the way. So I had to live in Australia without any pay for 2 months. And it was very difficult. I thought, why did I come here? I was just happy back in Nepal. But I think it's just part of the journey. So I worked there as a barback for a year, and they got me a role as a bartender. And I'm glad that I took that path, because as a bartender I was exposed to a lot of people and a lot of conversation with people. So I had to I meet people with different countries and got to know the culture and just be out there, just speak to people. So that really molded my personal skill, my people skill, which is, I think, a very important skill to have as a individual in any forms of life, be it a career-wise, be it a personal life. To be able to express yourself in words is really important. Then after I finished my studies, 3 years later, I got a role in Harvey Norman as a sales representative. So that was another leaf in my career, because I had to go and sell people laptops or say headphones or anything possible. We had sales target that we had to meet every month, and that really pushed me to go into an uncomfortable zone where I had to make conversation with people just for the sake, they knew that I was trying to make sales, but you had to go there, you got to smile, you got to make it interesting, and that way I learned a very big skill of going and approaching people, because previous to that I used to be a shy person where I was very I used to think twice to actually go and speak to a person.
You need to know what the people wants to hear. You need to know what they want. You need to pitch that kind of target.
Yes, I think pitching, that's the word. Pitching your sales is really important. And also what I learned from there is being a good listener.
Okay.
Yeah, so a conversation is not about yourself. A conversation is always about the next person. So you just gotta go say hi, how you doing, and they just spit the words out to you. It's nothing scary, just a one-on-one conversation. And I think especially with Nepalese community, people tend to be very shy and not approach people. I think that's something we need to work on. It's going to be very hard in the beginning, but once we do it a couple of times, it's going to come natural. You just got to go speak to people. And that's what sales at Harvey Norman taught me.
I would just want to commend you for coming out of your comfort zone and building your interpersonal skills. And pitching sales to customer, and being an introvert yourself, it's really, I think it's been very difficult.
It has been quite a journey. I personally found so much growth in me, when I started speaking to people and listening to them overall. I'm like more than talking, I like listening. I think I'm a good listener. So I like hearing the stories out, and how much people want to talk to you as well. It's just that initial ice that needs to be broken. So if you just go and say hello, it's a good weather, how you doing, just talk, and you build up a nice relationship, or at least a good experience at the end of the day. And I feel personally I would not have done if I was not taken to that sales role. I was pushed in doing that, and sometimes circumstances, like in my case, takes you there. Sometimes we need to go personally and be uncomfortable. You gotta put yourself in that zone, and that's where the growth is.
Just like to comment something. Being a salesperson, you need to know what your customer really wants to hear. I mean, sometimes they just want a particular thing, but you need to really divert their way, and you need to pitch the sales. What was that experience like?
That was very difficult for me, because with sales and with, I think, any business, we have some say targets that you got to meet, and you got some items that you have to sell more than the other items. And sometimes it was more of a moral values. That item A is right for that person, but in a business way, or you got to sell the item B. In that way, maybe that's why I didn't do very good in sales role. Always I was questioned my moral, and I would always think about the customer and give them what is right for them. And end of the day, I used to get the backlash, but that's how it is. I would never sell, even now, any item that is not good for a customer. And to be a good salesperson, I think you need to have that coldness, that bitter heart sometimes. But I feel I don't have that.
You go above and beyond.
Yes, I go more into a customer perspective. I don't look from the business perspective, and sometimes it's not good. But it's how it is. We're people. We gotta be a bit soft.
Thank you for your honesty.
In one of my shift, I was working at Harvey Norman. I was just selling people. I would just talk to people. I would even sometimes people are just shopping, they don't want to talk to anyone. Someone's trying to sell you, so they just avoid you. But I would just go, not try to sell anything, just speak to them, because I feel not being closed-minded, be an open mind, and just having a conversation may open a lot of opportunities. Sometimes you're going and trying to sell a headphone, but you get other opportunities coming in. So we shouldn't be stuck to just selling headphones. We should be an open mind and just have a nice conversation with people, give that experience. So I was just having a conversation with one of the customers, and he mentioned that he was working in Caltex Australia. And I just casually mentioned, oh, I'm a, IT graduate as well. I finished my studies about a year ago. I'm still looking for roles, and I didn't have any experience. So, would you mind getting me an interview? And he was like, oh, yeah, casually. It wasn't that big of a issue. So he just casually mentioned, do you have a card or a number? I'll just keep it. If I have any, vacancies, I'll let you know. Then I gave my card, I had my number. After 2-3 months, I guess, I got a ring saying, would you like an interview? And I jumped the train, and I was like, yeah, I would love an interview. And I went there, got the interview, and got the role as well. So I feel, coming back to that people skill, I feel if I had not had that people skill and just, let that person be, he's buying headphone, let him be, I would not have got that interview. So even now that when I walk on the street, I just casually have a conversation with people in an event. If I meet someone, having a conversation without any ulterior motives can really make a difference. And that's what, has really taught me.
And moving on after that.
Oh yes, so I went to a organization called Caltex, which is a massive industry. It's in the oil, but they have a big IT sector as well, because everything is run off IT now. Any business and every business is touched by IT. That's the beauty of being in an IT industry. Before that, I had no clue of how different roles come together in an IT industry. So any student who's studying in an IT degree or anything, they would probably think there are like just limited roles. There's like coding, there's like, network engineer, just very, technical roles. But once I went into Caltex, I found that there are other opportunities as well in the IT industry, such as your quality assurance, your business analyst, and your say project officers or project management, who are more people-based, they're not really technical-based. So they have some technical knowledge, but they're more into, writing reports or talking to customers. So
IT role does not need to be highly technical.
Yes, that's correct.
That is not everybody's cup of tea.
Yes, yes.
So any individual who are willing to, find a career in IT must listen to what we have to say.
Yeah, they must venture out, they must do a bit of research, because everything is on the internet now. But I don't blame them as well. I think it's because of the gap that's there between the organization and the colleges, like the colleges, the universities need to tell them what different roles are there and what are their, everyday jobs. So I did a degree in networking. I wasn't a very good coder and a technical person, to be honest. And there were people who were like my friends who were like very highly technical as well. So I used to get that feeling, man, these guys are really good. I may have chose the wrong industry. But then, coming back 2-3 years, I feel I found the right role for myself. Personally, I like the technical bit as well, and how IT changing life overall, and also the people-based role where you speak to people and you manage projects altogether. So that was exposed in Caltex Australia. So if there are any students who are not very technical but are into IT roles, they should do more research and go into certifications or training courses.
Those are the prerequisites.
Yes, 100%. They don't ask you for a degree. They ask you what certification you've done or what experience you've done. And obviously, you can't gain a lot of experience when you're studying. You do have your projects, your major projects that you do in the college, your major assignments, but that's not enough. That's not your practical knowledge. So certifications is what brings you top from other applicants as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what's like to being a business project officer?
Oh, it was very interesting. I left there. I did my Prince 2 certification. As I said, certification is really important. So I went and did my Prince 2 certification, and got a role as a project officer as well. I had to wait for another 2 months as well to get the role. I was like very adamant. I wanted that role. I didn't I got offered Caltex roles or other stuff because I just had 1 year experience in Caltex, but I said no, I'm getting into project role. I'm not getting into help desk, and that took me about 2 months. So yeah, I think having a clear vision also matters in these cases. And after 2 months, yeah, I got the role, and I'm really happy that I took this part because. Managing projects is feeling amazing. You have a certain project, you have certain timeline, you have deadlines, you have a lot of different components. You have, say, your people coming together to finish the project, and yeah, it's a great feeling. And I feel we need more individuals in this section of IT, where you manage people and you manage the overall projects.
So I think our viewers would really like to know what the jobs that the council does. I mean, what are your day-to-day job like? And you said you manage projects. So what are the projects?
Yeah, so currently I'm working as a project officer in your Bayside Council, which has Rockdale, it has your Mascot, Walleye Creek, and all of that area. We don't cover airport, so airport is right in the middle, but we have all that Botany area, and it's quite a big council. And what I noticed with council is it's not like your private enterprise or your private company where you have certain field of work. So say Caltex had oil work, like they sell oil, and that's all they do. Pretty much they had oil stuff, and they sell. Or they have their Star Mart or their convenience store that's in the oil petroleum place, but. Mostly they do just two stuff, but with council it's very versatile. So they are they need to maintain the sports field, they need to maintain the footpaths, they have your garbage collection, you have complaints coming from customers, the requests coming from customers, you have other projects like development projects and like strategic planning of the whole council, how big buildings are gonna come, when you're gonna put a sports field there, would you require like a swimming pool. Council also manage a lot of aquatic centers and swimming pools, and libraries as well. That's a major thing for councils as well. So it's very customer focused, and it's very versatile as well. And finding a role there, I find myself very fortunate because it's like you're giving back to the community as well. And being part of the Bayside Council, you have Rockdale, who is highly Nepalese focused area and suburb. So I'm I think the only Nepalese person who is in the corporate Bayside, and being a representative there is very fortunate. And my role there is as a business improvement. It's a newly formed team. What we pretty much do is bring technology in to better everyday work of people. So say you're a grass mower, you go and grass mow. I'm not saying you go grass mow, but let's say, for example, you mow a sports field, How can IT improve that, how so currently they were doing it just off the paper, so they say, okay, I think this needs to be mowed, you go and mow it, and it's all paper based. But currently we just did a project where everyone gets an iPad, and they connect it through an iPad. So if there's a new role, it comes up in an iPad, they go and accept the role, and the person goes, mows the lawn.
It's like an Uber.
Yeah, pretty much, but within the organization.
Okay.
Yeah, so supervisor sits there and says, oh, okay, now we need to go and mow the park. And that job comes up in the person's iPad, and he takes a lawnmower and he goes and mows lawn. Rather than, you come there in the morning and you go briefing, and all of that time is saved, So that was one very interesting project we did. And me personally, I am focused into data part. So council has collected a lot of data in there. So we consume that data, and we try to visualize it and forecast the future. So say when are we getting a lot of requests? when do we have to put our workforce more. Data tells all the story, and I think data is a very important aspect in the future as well for making decisions and making the right moves in the future.
Wow, thank you for sharing that with us. And you obviously shared that how you landed the business project officer role, but would you like to tell step by step for any individual who would want to pursue your career as yourself?
Yeah, 100%. So since me personally going into that process of getting the IT or any job, it was very difficult for me in the beginning as well, and it should be as well. It should not be easy, I feel students coming here, you're competing with different nationalities, different people, even Australians right here, they're not going to make it easy for you, you're an immigrant first of all, so you got to be working harder than people here because it's their national language, they have the edge, but you need to work really hard. I would say finish your degree, first of all. If you can get any certifications, get certifications, but you need to have a goal in your mind. You need to say, okay, this is the role I'm going to get. So say a help desk role, which is a starting role for most of the IT personnel. So make up your mind, okay, I'm getting an IT role. Do your job. Say you do 3 or 4 days a week, you got to pay the bills, understandable. After work, get down to the laptop and see how many roles are coming up and what are the experience they require, because in every job there is a job description there that gives you what is required to pass for the roles, So pretty much the job description itself is telling you what's required. You don't need to go and search for it. So just you need to bend your resume a bit, put keywords, what they're asking for into your resume as well, because the person who is looking for that individual is gonna write the job description, right? So he's gonna put those keywords there, and if he sees his own words in the resume, it's gonna click him. That's just human nature, So say I want someone for help desk. I write, okay, this guy needs to be energetic, and someone says in his resume, I'm energetic. Oh, that's what I'm looking for, It's just human nature. You put one on one together. So you need to be less picky. Put 100 applicants. I would put I would sit in the morning at 9 till 2 p.m. Just keep applying. And if there's any phone number in the job description, just give them a call. Cold calling. Just give them a call and say, there's a role opening. Can I know more about it? Just start a conversation, And many of times what happens is they don't even look into your resume because they have 1,000 applications coming in, and somebody calls and says, I saw your role, saw opening, can I book an interview with you? And then and there, that person will say, oh, have you applied? And say yes. And he'll open your resume then and there. He won't look into your 100 applications. He will pick your, your CV, go through your experience on the phone. If he likes it, he'll call you for an interview straight away. So that's how important taking that extra step is, just giving a call. I know it's very uncomfortable, you don't have experience, you're Nepalese, it's not your local language, there's a lot of excuses there, but, excuses are just gonna come anyways, so.
And you talked about certifications. What sort of certifications?
There are a lot of certifications in the market, but I feel going back to, setting the goal, telling which role you'd like. After that, aligning your certifications with that role. So say, for example, you're looking for a network engineer role. You go and check the job descriptions, what different certification they're asking for. So if it's CCNA, CCNC or whatever, and then you go and do those sort of certifications, because the different industries ask for different certifications, and it's going back to setting a goal and going for that role and doing the certifications for that role.
So moving on, you are a budding entrepreneur, and also you have a few projects of yours going on. Entrepreneur is commonly seen as an innovator. It requires an enormous amount of passion and outside of the box thinking.
Yes.
So when was the seed for entrepreneurship showed in your life?
If you had spoken to me again 5 years before, I would have not even been close to be called a entrepreneur or be a budding entrepreneur. But it just all started when I started watching, your motivational videos, and I started getting inspired from them, and I started to look more meaning into my life. I, was not like this before. I used to, smoke weed and hang out with just friends. I did not have bigger vision to life, but eventually I started looking for more meaning, and then I thought, why not do any projects, small projects, because I had my spare time. We're working 9 to 5, or say you're working the weekends, you have some spare time. So I wanted to get involved in the community and work anything, side hustle, so I think it's really important as a student as well, to do anything at the side, because now you have your internet, now you have your social medias. It's really easy to actually start anything now, say if you're a chef and wanted to become master chef or anything, you should have a nice Instagram page where you put all your cooking food and all that. It makes a difference, end of the day, because say if there are two, individuals who work in the same role, but someone has a side hustle and someone has a digital presence, I think they stand out more than the other individual. So there's no reason not having that. Having a good LinkedIn profile as well is very important as well. So yeah, I got really inspired by those motivators, and wanted to do something myself. And I started off doing an event called Nepal Knights. I think it's been 1.5 years now. I plan to do that. So it's pretty much a platform for Sydney-based artists who had not got a lot of exposure, and who wanted a stage, to perform, because there are a lot of music students who come here and study music, and they like to perform and they like to sharpen their skill as well. So we used to have an event every Thursday. That was a free event. Used to go there, just celebrate culture, celebrate Nepali music, and give exposure to Sydney-based artists as well. We did that for 1.5 years before, till 1.5 years before the COVID started, so we had to stop because of the COVID. But doing that event really put me in a position where I got to meet a lot of people, and I built my strong network as well. And I really loved it. I got to meet people who are very passionate musicians, who are passionate, who we would not be able to pay the musicians, by the way. They would come for free, they would pay, because we didn't have any income coming out of it as well. So still they would bring all of the equipment, they would practice before the set. And
so Nepali Knights are a group of it's like a musicians, and they perform certain events.
Yes, so we have a free event. We might continue as well. So we would have it in Scurfy Murphy's. That's just in city, and we had every Thursday. It's a free event. We would get Nepalese food there, and Nepalese songs. We would have bands performing there. We have DJs, and just it's a ground where every youth from Nepal out of work come there, meet, and celebrate culture, celebrate music, and it went very well. I got very positive feedbacks as well, and I got to meet a lot of people from the community. People started knowing me as someone who started Nepali Knights as well. So that really boosted my confidence and boosted my morale as well. And then I recently just started podcast as well. It's called Get Heard Podcast. So if someone wants to follow Get Heard Podcast, please go to YouTube, and we have a page on Instagram as well. So you are a one-man band on the podcast, and you organize everything yourself? Yes, I have another friend who helps me with the production. He's the man behind the cameras, and he does all the production work. But apart from that, we're doing a one-man show. Yes. So you're having a really stimulating conversation with guests. Oh yes. Yeah, and you have invited most of the guests as well. Yeah. And so how are you finding it? Oh, I find it very interesting. Like I would never see myself becoming a podcaster or a let's say a host, because that was not my line of field at all. I was even close to media. I would be shy of cameras. I would not be able to utter a word in front of camera. But I think going into that zone where you're uncomfortable grows you, and I'm like, pushing myself more into that zone. So
the podcaster is basically showing your genuine self.
Yeah,
like our guest's genuine self.
Yeah, very raw,
just
very raw.
Talk about everything that they know.
Yeah.
And that should be interesting.
Yes, yeah. We don't have any set questions at all, so we just go sit down there and talk whatever we want. Sometimes we talk about, say, aliens. Sometimes we talk about, say, drugs or their mental issues, where topics that are really important as well. And it has really got me in a position where I knew a lot of people and could talk more about stuff which I had no clue about. And I feel yourself, having a side hustle out of the main work really grows you as well. And eventually, hopefully if you do it well, you can make your side hustle the main hustle as well, because that's what you like. You like hosting conversation with people, and anything can happen.
I would like to tell our viewers, if anybody would like to, listen to his podcast. It's called Get Heard.
Yeah.
Please visit YouTube and search for Get Heard and show some support.
Yeah, please do so. We try to bring, we don't try to bring all celebrities or anything. We try to bring people of the community where they have a story. You don't have to be like famous or anything, but just doing what you like and sharing your story. That's what we do at Get Heard.
So how do you think it helps the community?
I don't really know, to be honest. I've never thought about it. It's just a passion project. But I think there's never more information. It is something, even if one person hears it and gets a motivation out of it.
Maybe it's like you're talking to a guest, you're sharing their stories, and guests are sharing their stories. So maybe your viewers can relate to it and, have sort of like bloom and inspiration or some kind of thing. Like they could follow your path. You're listening to you, okay, he did this, so maybe I should be doing this. Yeah,
100%. That's what we like to do as well. Also, it's just an example that you can do anything now. Me personally, not being close to media, now just starting a podcast, we don't have a lot of followers, so we have 25 subscribers, but that's not the main thing. Being out there talking to people and just sharing stories. It takes 2 cameras, maybe it takes a little bit lights and everything. There's a little overhead, but and end of the day, when I speak to those guests, they feel very relieved. They feel like it's like a meditation. You just go talk it out, and yeah.
So how many episodes have you aired so far?
We are currently done 13 episodes. We just released 13 episodes, and the feedback has been amazing. But it's something I'm not looking in a monetary value. It's more like a passion way. And as I said, you need to have an open mind, and anything could come your way. And I feel doing the podcast has also taken me here to your interview, and I feel really honored. I feel really honored to be part of this show and being able to share my story myself.
Our viewers would think the same.
Yeah, hopefully.
Moving on, you're also starting a venture called Getlink.
Yeah.
So what is it regarding, and what's your motivation behind it?
So Getlink is still a egg which is not hatched yet. So it's been my big project that I've been working for almost 2 years now. So Getlink is pretty much a platform where universities and students connect together, and even you have your agents, migration agents, which are a very important part of your overall education ecosystem, get connected in Getlink. So that's why it's called Getlinked. Why I did that is education is a big industry in Australia and Nepal as well. And if you look, it's like the 3rd most country that come to Australia to study. And considering our size, it's massive. We are just behind China and India. But it's just not the volume of the industry that intrigued me. It's also how important the industry is. So education makes or breaks the country. If you have an educated people, that's where a good community is coming up. So for example, if a poor person sees a tree, they're gonna cut it 9 out of 10 times, because a cut tree will have more profit than a tree that's sitting there. But if you educate that person and say, if you see the bigger picture and see the advantages that tree gives, that person is not going to cut. So that education is the missing gap there, and that's the industry I like to get involved in and try to build a community. Also, if you look into the current business model where there are like sub-agents or agents, they don't get they don't have access to a lot of colleges. So say, for example, agent A has 10 universities they have, and a student comes to that agent A and says, I want to study it in Australia. They can only offer those 10 colleges, and that way it's a bit of unfair for the rest of the 99,000 colleges that's there in Australia. So this platform, what it does is it allows that agent to have access to all those 1,000 colleges and give a proper consultation to that student and whatever that student is looking for. So it opens more doors and it gives more options to students at the end of the day. So
you've started projects Get Heard,
yes.
Getlink, and Nepal Knights.
Yes.
So how was the overall experience?
It was tough. It wasn't easy. It was, I thought I'll do an event and everyone will know me. Everyone will say, oh, this guy's famous, but it didn't happen that way. Support came, but it came, slowly, and it wasn't like one-off hit, We had events where literally 3 or 4, guests were there, and the good thing was the musicians still were playing. We still had the event. There were 3 guests playing, and there were events where we had, say, 100, 150 people coming in. We have Suraj Singh Thakuri come in, and it was ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs, But I feel anyone who is aspiring to do any project, you need to have a mindset. I'll tell you a little story. There was an experiment where people wanted to know what's the main skill required to be successful, okay? And there were different skills that was considered. One was your good looks. One was your, if you are talented, if you're well educated. All of the skills were, brought into experiment. After experiment, they found out that the most important skill was persistence. You need to be persistent no matter what you're doing. You gotta keep going, keep showing up. You should be very positive. There'll be a lot of negative comments, but just keep focused towards your goal. And that's what I learned out of all these projects, and I'm still learning. I still got a long way to go, I feel, and it's been a good start, but I need to keep focusing, keep growing what I've started.
Okay. So in your opinion, why would an individual choose entrepreneurship over high, stable paying jobs? I mean, entrepreneurship is hard.
Yeah.
So why would anybody choose it?
Yes, 100%. Entrepreneurship is very tough. It's it sometimes breaks you. It'll make you stressed out. It feels like, why did I do that? And sometimes it could be less money as well, in a monetary way. You can earn more if you are doing a desk role. And I don't think everyone can be an entrepreneur as well. Right now, it's like a hype. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, and everyone wants to do something out of the desk job, which is very great, I feel. And I think all of this has come out of internet. If you wanted to, say, start a YouTube channel, that wasn't possible before. You had to go to a TV studio, beg them to have a show yourself. But now you can do it through your phone. You can have a YouTube, channel on your own, and that's the freedom that internet has given. But I feel it's about self-expression. For me personally, it is. Entrepreneurship gives that self-satisfaction that you are trying to build something bigger than yourself. It's easier to just sit down and do a desk job. People have done it, and I personally work in counseling. There are people who are, I don't know, like 80, they look like 90 years old, still working in the desk, and they're still doing their job. And life has been smooth for them, I'm not blaming anything for them, but they must have, raised their kids, they must have did what they're supposed to do. But why not do something extra? You have already taken that path of coming here, settling in such a big country with like, opportunities are enormous, and just take that little step, and bit by bit, anything could happen. And also, especially in Nepalese community, I really stress people to go and do entrepreneurship, because that's what build countries. Why is America the number one country? Because they have Uber, they have your Netflix, everything came from the Silicon Valley, so if we would like to bring Nepal to that position, working in Google or working in Uber will not take you there. Building your own Google or building your own Uber will take you there, So it's not going to be easy, but I think it's worth the risk. And yeah.
But do you think it may be the reason that we are brought up like that? I mean, since the beginning we are taught, to get a job, to be a doctor, be an engineer, but never an entrepreneur. Like we never have that kind of sort of culture that that we are grown up with.
100%.
What do you think about that?
Oh, I totally agree with you. I feel it's with our how our parents have showed us,
And the Nepalese are very humble, and I think they have worked hard all their life, so they don't have that kind of energy for that kind of entrepreneurship. So they want is a good job. They want to study, but they want to get a good job. That's all. And that's all we are brought up with. So you wanna have a degree and you have a job, or you have a practice, or like a doctor or pilot or engineer, but never an entrepreneur, never a businessman, because we never hear that kind of story. So this is the first that we ever hear, that being an entrepreneur, and it's kind of very fascinating for our Nepalese community because we don't see it quite often. What do you think about that?
Well, I have a friend as well who works very hard in his job, very good employee, but end of the day, if he works, say, 30 years, he's going to get a nice farewell card, maybe a cake, and say, okay, bye-bye, we've used you, we go home, That's all going to happen, And while we have that age, and while we have that capacity, we're still young, we have that risk appetite as well, we can take that risk. So we can go do something extra, something we like. That way we can build something more meaningful that we can give back to our family or our community. Anything, entrepreneurship is not just being a businessman or earning a lot of money. It's about solving problem. So if there's any problem that you can see in the community and you think there's a better way to do it, then that's called entrepreneurship. Say for Nepal Knights, giving that platform to the Sydney-based artists has grown a lot of bands. I see after Nepal Knights, a lot of bands were formed, and more, passionate people came out of stage. And that's what we like, it's growing culture as well, end of the day. And coming back to your point also, I feel that's because lack of knowledge, because in our community, say someone did well, they did well because they did a good job in a big organization, and that's what we were taught as well. See, this guy, he got a job in such a big company, you gotta be like him. And we got that planted in our mind. Oh, maybe a big company would make me happy and make my family happy and get a lot of money. But thank God I got the taste of that early on. So working in a big organization like Caltex, I was 22, 23 when I got there. I was getting a very good amount of salary as well, but I wasn't happy, and I always wanted to do something extra at the back as well. Always planning to, getting friends and saying, why don't we do this, why don't we do that, and always brainstorming. And that's what people should do as well. And especially in the age of internet, everything is so easy, and everything is so connected. So I feel internet would really bring Nepal out of poverty, because it's an open source, it's not like oil or gold or anything that's stuck in one place and whoever gets it. Internet is open. Anyone can build platform. Anyone can build, Ubers or anything like that. And I think people should focus on that as well. So if any parents or any guardian, they're looking students to, build a career, I feel let them be themselves, because I feel they know more than you guys because they're on the internet. There's so much information out there, and sometimes you gotta trust them and say, just be whatever you want to be. Yeah.
Well, that's the message that we want to send to all our future generations, obviously.
Sure.
So, Aryan, we're coming to the end of our program. Would you like to say some few words to our viewers before we leave?
Sure. I hope I could add more meaning to you and, give motivational things or influence you. That's the show's name, influence you at the end of the day. But I feel nothing is easy. You gotta work hard, and like these guys, they're doing an amazing work here. They take the time off, come here, set up the studio. They're doing a really good work bringing that information out to you. So please show the support to them as well, and please use the internet as much as possible. I know it's very cliche, it's overused. What's internet? Everyone knows about internet, but it's a big thing that has been gifted to our generation, and it's still growing. And please exploit that. It doesn't have to be just IT, but anything that you do. Either you're a chef, either you're a plumber. Have a digital presence. Make content, share your content, and just grow in whatever you're doing. And that's all.
Well, on that note, I would like to end tonight's episode. I would like to request our viewers to show our Aryan support on his podcast. It's called Get Heard. Please visit his YouTube channel and stay influenced. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching Everest TV. Thank you very much.